Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel and I am knitting. Not right now, but most of the time. And I have been knitting. If you watched my video a few weeks ago where I went over my goals for the month of January, specifically my knitting goals, you may well know that I plan to finish making Cushy this month. Cushy is the name of this knitted lamb stuffy. This is the Tearoom lambs pattern by Hickson, and I'm ready to get this project completed. So as you can see, Cushy's body is done. You start this pattern with the head, and then you make the legs, the body, you sew the head and the body together, then you add the arms, and then you make the lamb's clothes. So I made the clothes for Cushy, or the overalls I should say, and I put them on her, and it was quickly apparent that they were way too big. The way that these overalls or dungarees are written in the pattern is to have a hole for the tail, so I have that. But as you can see, these overalls are quite large for sweet little Cushy. And I will also tell you that this is the second attempt of these overalls. Yeah, so the first time I, thought I had finished them, I put them on Cushy and I realized they were way too big. I set the project aside for a while so I could heal. I could mentally, recover from that devastating blow. And then, let's see, yesterday, 2 days ago, sometime over the weekend, I'm filming this on a Tuesday, sometime over the weekend, I decided it was time to return to the overalls and tackle this project so I could count Cushy as a completed project. I'm not counting Cushy herself in my 24 in 24 goal, which is the yearly goal I have for myself in 2024 to make 24 things from start to finish. So I cast Cushy on Christmas Day of last year, 2023. So Cushy doesn't count as an item in my 24 items, but the overalls certainly will count. And next, when I make her seed stitch scarf, that will count as well. So with the completion of Cushy and her wardrobe, I will add 2 more items to my list of 24 items I hope to amass before the end of this year. Yeah, so anyway, over the weekend, I decided it's time to revisit the overalls. It's time to try again. But I didn't want to start over from the beginning. So what I did was I frogged back to about 4 rows above the tail hole. So about 4 rows. And then so in the pattern, you knit 13 rows after the tail hole. Okay. And then I frogged back to 4 rows above the tail hole, and then I added decreases on the outside of each leg. So maybe I'll zoom in or be able to zoom in post-production here or show you here. You can see where I did the knit 2 together and where that is slanting on that outside of the leg. I also did that on the other leg on the outside. Okay. And I also added some decreases in this garter stitch. Collar is not the right word, but the garter stitch border. So the overalls were still quite large on Cushy, but the garter edge was still too big, but I don't know, tighter than the rest of the overall on Cushy. So I frogged the garter stitch edge again. So this is now the second time I frogged the garter stitch edge, but instead of also going down to the stockinette portion, I just knit the garter stitch edge as written. I didn't add extra decreases. So all that to say, I'll tell you what this video is about. I don't know what to name this video. So, in the little intro I do where the name of the video comes across the screen, I don't know what that's going to be yet. It is going to be a total surprise to me as I figure this out. But basically the point of this video is altering clothes for a stuffed lamb, a knit stuffed animal. So basically I decided that I don't want to start these overalls from the beginning. They, you know, they're not the most difficult thing to knit, but I don't know, that's a lot of knitting. The stitches are quite small and it's just a lot of knitting, and I didn't really want to do it. Like I said, I want this project to be, you know, a quick and easy check mark on my to-do list. So I got to thinking, and I remembered, of course, this is non-superwash wool, meaning it is going to felt, meaning I could steek it, meaning I could cut it. Okay, sorry, I know that probably was obnoxious. Okay, so I'm going to do that. My plan is to put this on Cushy's body and pin the sides of where I want the excess to stop. And then I'm going to turn the overalls inside out and sew on either side. And then after I do that, I'm going to cut the excess off and see if that works for getting Cushy's overalls all set and ready to go. So this can be one step closer to a finished object. So that's what I need to do. And I thought I would film it, take you along for the ride. This is not steeking per se. Hey, and it's a coincidence, but I'm wearing a sweater that I steeked. If you're not familiar, steeking is basically cutting your knitting. So this sweater was knit as a pullover. It was knit in the round, and then I cut it open to make it a cardigan. So that's essentially what I'll be doing here, except I'm not going to leave the edges open. I'm going to sew them down together before I snip that excess off. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you along with me to grab my sewing machine, and then I'll put the view from overhead so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Actually, I'm not going to grab the sewing machine just yet. I'm going to get the fit that I want for Cushy, but still it will be an overhead view. I should say also, if you're not familiar with Cushy, she is so named because she is being made out of yarn from Cushendale Woollen Mills in Ireland. So I went to Cushendale Woollen Mills in October of 2023. I'm going again in October of 2024. So if you have your eye on Cushy and you're like, oh my gosh, that is so cute, I need that yarn, you can get it from Cushendale Woollen Mills. They have an online shop. But even better, you could come with me in October to Ireland. We still have room for a few more people to join the 2024 Irish Knitting Tour. Okay, so let me change the view to overhead and you can see me get this fit situated for Cushy's overalls. All right, so we've got Cushy on this overhead view. Again, sorry to break the fourth wall, and you can see like my desk behind this beautiful purple mat that I purchased with the intention of keeping that fourth wall intact. So you wouldn't see that this is just a regular old desk, but you would think it was a purple wonderland, but whatever. Okay, so let's put Cushy's overalls on here. Make sure the tail has room to breathe. That's very important. All right, so just like look how big these are. I'm sorry, but this is just not Cushy's style. So what I think that I'm gonna do is maybe start by measuring. Let's see. Start by measuring. Oh, this was gifted to me by the lovely owner of Hook and Needle, Maryville, Tennessee's local yarn store. So let's go ahead and use that. So let's see. This is going to be like 2 inches from the edge. Yeah. Okay. So basically, now that I know that measurement, I'll tell you also, I'm not a sewist, okay? I know very little about sewing, so you may be watching this at certain points and just like screaming at me because I'm doing something wrong, or maybe not, you know, the best way. So hopefully this video is not inducing your anger and ire and frustration, but you know, I'm just doing my best. Okay, so I'm going to do, I think, 1 inch. I'll pin 1 inch and then use that as a guide. So I'm just going to use these T-pins. I have a sewing box with sewing material that I could go get pins, but I don't really want to, so I'm not going to. And I'm just going to pin. Now I'm thinking maybe this will be bad though, and it will, my sewing machine will, whatever. We're just going to, it's fine. It is what it is, okay? And now I'm going to do roughly 1 inch. I've already told you I'm not a sewist, so that basically, you know, that says it all. I'm not a sewist. But I do know when you sew things, you pin them down. You know what? I'm also wondering if it's worth it to dig in through my craft closet and find my sewing machine, or if I should just secure this by hand, like sew this by hand. Ugh, decisions. I think I'm going to get my sewing machine out just because it feels like it would be fun to like feel that rhythm and you know, hear that sound. Okay, so let's go to my craft room. Before I take you though, you have to promise not to judge me. Do you promise? You have to promise. Okay, I'll take you. Let's go to the craft closet. Guarding my craft closet door is my fuchsia sachet that I got in Ireland as well. Love fuchsia, and I filled it with lavender, and my trash can is right there. Okay, so here's the craft closet, and that's my nostalgia corner. I've got my Addie American Girl doll. I've got my tea set that I had as a little girl, not the same one. I found it on eBay. I've got my Starlight Castle that I keep in the box. The one that I have to play with is right here. And then the original Starlight Castle, original Starbright Dinner, and so, okay, so focus. Here's my sewing machine. Let me get it down and we'll get going. Okay, I got the sewing machine down. I took the cover off and gotta get it plugged in and stuff. I haven't used this in a while. Sorry, Mom and Dad. The story behind this is my mom and dad got this for me for my birthday. And as with so many things, I want to become an expert in using it. But that desire and having like such a high expectation on myself, probably an unfairly high expectation on myself, makes it so I put off using it, and I put off learning about it and, you know, building that expertise that I so badly want, because I'm intimidated by my own goals and my own hopes, I guess. So I need to maybe practice giving myself a little bit more grace and a little bit more tempered expectations. But anyway, thank you so much for the sewing machine, Mom and Dad. I use it in my mind a lot, but not really in reality. Okay, so, if you're a sewist and an expert at sewing, sorry that I'm not. I hope you'll still be my friend. Okay, so my sewing box is actually right here on the ground because I didn't put it away from the last time I needed something out of it, I think to get buttons. You may hate this, but I'm going to use navy blue thread. Yeah, okay, it's a mess back there. All right. And yeah, okay, whatever. So I'm going to use navy blue thread on these mustard yellow overalls. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I can see that the bobbin has thread. The bobbin thread is up here. Let me make it so you can see the sewing happen a little bit more. And let me just figure this out. I'm going to stop narrating because I need to figure this out. Oh, no, you don't put that up there. Yes, you do. What am I saying? Huh. That took me way longer to figure out how to thread this thing. And I still am not sure if I did it right. But I did decide I'm going to switch to, actual sewing pins so I don't break my sewing needle on the edges of a T-pin. You know what? I'm just going to freehand it. I'm not even going to use pins. Okay, maybe that's going to like burn your butt right up. I don't know. We'll see. But you know, Okay, it's just what we're doing. This is a low stakes project. Worst case scenario, I can knit a whole new pair of overalls with the yarn I have left. So it's just an experiment. We're just going to do it, okay? And that's final, okay? So I do remember in home ec that you put your foot down, you lower the needle. Maybe I was supposed to lower the needle before I put my foot down. Guess what? I don't remember. I took home ec literally like more than 20 years ago, so get off my back. Okay, so let's just go. Enough funny business. Let's go. It's working. I did it. Okay, now I'm gonna hit reverse a few. Oh, I should have done that at the beginning, huh? But going reverse and then that like is like weaving in your ends, I think. Ah, I did it. Wow, that's way more than 1 inch. I did it. Oh my gosh, that's so crooked. Whatever, it's a learning experience. And guess what? I'm gonna get yarn for another Cushy. So Cushy has a friend when I go back to Cushendale in October. So it's fine. It's fine. Oh, that's so exciting that it worked. Round 2, other side. I'm a sewist. I'm going backwards now. Okay, I'm going to go forward again all the way to the top. Okay. Lift the foot. No, lift the needle. Lift the foot. Release the project. Cut the thread. And look, a totally uneven situation here. Okay, now let me move the sewing machine. Oh, I sewed the cast off end. Whatever. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so anyway, gonna change the camera view so we can experience this together. All right, let's try this on Miss Cush and just see, you know, at this point, if I sewed it too much into the inseam, that's okay. I can take that out. But let's just see. Is this going to work? Is this going to fit Miss Cush? Fun fact, I'm pretty sure that I'll name my next lamb out of Cushendale yarn Dale. So I'm going to have Cush in Dale as my little lammies. All right, let's get this sewing machine cord out of the way. Oh my gosh, look. That is so much a better fit. Look at that. Okay, it's still kind of wonky at the top with this, but that is so much better. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't start from scratch. I'm almost tempted to just leave the excess in there, but I don't know. Would that be irresponsible? No, I'm going to take it out, and I think I might like sew some elastic here on the cuff, but yay, that's exciting. So here's what I'm going to do next. This is non-superwash yarn. I know I mentioned that before, but now I'm wondering if maybe I accidentally said non-superwash, but what? Ugh, I'm confusing myself. Maybe I accidentally said that it's superwash, but it's non-superwash, which means it's feltable. It's not a treated wool. I'm just going to snip this off here. So that means that if you have to cut it, there's not as much of a risk of unraveling as there would be with treated wool, i.e. superwash yarn. So that means I can cut this without too much fear, but I do want to secure this seam all the same. So let me zoom in here a bit. I'm going to use Fray Check. This is a liquid sealant. It's so handy, particularly if you're steeking or cutting your wool. So the way I like to use it is I just like to line, let's see, this might need to be, you know, poked through here. Hold on. Break the ice with my Fray Check. Pop. All right, so we've got that opened up. I just snipped the tip off essentially, and now I'm just going to put a T-pin in there to fully get this open. So there you go. Pro tip, if you get Fray Check, don't just rely on the cap because then it will dry shut forever. Keep a pin or a needle in there. And now I haven't used T-pins before for this, but I'm learning that's perfect because you automatically have this built-in, you know, lever that's easy to get this removed when you are ready to use it. So all that to say, I'm going to use Fray Check. It's a liquid sealant, like I mentioned, and I'm just going to dot along this seam that I've sewn in. Now you can see, obviously it's wet there. It will dry and it will be kind of rough. I wouldn't use Fray Check if you are going to have whatever you're using it on directly against your skin, because it basically is like super glue for fabric that dries and is kind of hard, kind of scratchy. I will say though that it softens up after washing, so that's good. Certainly you don't have to use as much as I'm using here. I always use kind of a liberal amount, so for better or worse. And then look, it's safe and ready for my next use. I love Fray Check so much that I have a drawer of bottles. So there's that. Now let's cut this cloth. So here we go. All right, so there's that strip of fabric cut off. As you may have noticed, I didn't cut directly along the seam. And you know what? If this unravels, that I don't think it will, but if it were to unravel, it wouldn't be the end of the world because, first of all, I have enough yarn to make another pair. And secondly, this isn't like a structural piece of Cushy that's required. This is just additional stuff here. If I were steeking this and I really cared about the finished edge, I would be sure to cut in a more intentional way, you know, cutting at the same stitch, the whole column up. But you know what? I don't care, so I'm not going to do it. All right, so now let's look at what that seam looks like when the overalls are right side out. Okay, so I already can tell maybe I need to reinforce this because the sewing reinforcement didn't quite get there, whereas on this side it did. Oops, my bad. But that looks pretty cute. That looks pretty good. I like that a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and secure this right now. What I'm going to do here is take some of the yarn that is from the version of the overalls that I frogged. This yarn is crimpy, so I wouldn't want to knit with it yet before resetting it with steam, but it's fine to use as this reinforcement. So again, I don't really care here. I could be a lot more intentional with where I'm placing this thread, where I'm securing, but I'm just kind of like trying to make sure that these rows are good to go and that they won't unravel. I'm not really worried that they will, since it's superwash and superwash felts. Another thing that I could do is I could use my needle felting needles and poke around in here for a while to felt those stitches together, and that would really help secure it. And in fact, maybe I will do that later, but just securing this area by going a few stitches deeper than where I cut, sewing them together, and I think I'm gonna call that good. Cut this away from the yarn ball. I'm gonna tie this in a triple knot because why not? Ha ha ha. And I'm going to grab my fray check. I'm going to just put it on that knot I just tied. Put the T-pin in and just snip that excess off. So let's see here. Now I still need to weave this end in. I'll do that later because I just don't feel like it now. And let's look at how Cushy looks in this new edition of these overalls. So this is an exciting part about knitting. If you are a knitter or a crocheter or a sewist, you may think and well know that one of the best parts about our art forms, our craft, or crafts, plural, is that we can customize what we make. We can alter clothes to fit our body. Well, guess what? We can also alter clothes to fit stuffed animal bodies. So how cool is that? Those look so cute. They fit so much better, and I'm really, really pleased with that. Let me get this sewing machine cord out of the way because it is distracting me. So it must be distracting some of you too. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the next thing that needs to happen for Cushy to be done is to sew on the straps for her overalls. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. When I was first selecting buttons for Cushy's overalls, for a brief moment I considered using some buttons that I got at Cushendale alongside with the yarn for Cushy, but I think they're just a little bit too big for the scale of Cushy and her clothes, so I am using some buttons that I just have left over from previous projects that, you know, the buttons have been in my sewing box for who knows how long. But I think that maybe I'll be a little bit more intentional on the next trip and find some buttons that will work for Dale. Who knows? Not me, I'm not sure, but I think that the buttons that I picked are going to work out really well, even though they are not from Cushendale or from Ireland. But aside from the buttons that you'll see in a minute, and aside from the fiber fill that is stuffing Cushy's body and the lavender sachets that fill her boots, everything else that Cushy is made up of is an Irish Knitting Tour souvenir. So this really is a very special little friend, and I'm just so glad to have her. By the way, here's an example of what can happen to your bottle of fray check if you use one of those sewing pins with the round beads at the top. The bead can fall off, and then you just have this, you know, pokey metal stick in there, and you need pliers to get that out. So I'm definitely converted to using a T-pin for this from now on. But all that to say, let's check this overall situation out on Miss Cushy. In fact, I'm just gonna dab fray check all over this side where I reinforced. You know, when in doubt, put some fray check on it. I would not do this if this were, you know, going on a person. This would be scratchy, but Cushy doesn't mind. Ugh, so cute. I love it. Those fit so much better than when they were out to here on her. So cute, so cute. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is make her scarf, and she will be finished. Okay, back and better than ever. I got my vinyl tote of my Ireland souvenir yarn, and I'm going to be using this Kerry Woollen Mills yarn for Cushy's scarf. It was really important to me that I used all yarn from the Irish knitting tour and the various places we went around Ireland for Cushy, because she is truly an Ireland souvenir. So this yarn is from Kerry Woollen Mills. I mentioned that the yarn Cushy is made of is from Cushendale Woollen Mills. So together, Cushendale Woollen Mills and Kerry Woollen Mills are the two last working Irish woolen mills. And they have a rich history, each of them do. So it's very special to me that both of those yarns are going to be represented in Cushy. I should also say that this white yarn, or this, Aran color yarn, is Blasta yarn from Carol Feller. Her company name is Stolen Stitches, so this is Blasta yarn from Stolen Stitches. So again, Carol Feller was another part of our Irish knitting tour. She led a wonderful workshop on pattern construction, garment construction, cabling, all that good stuff. So Cushy is truly the embodiment of the most wonderful trip I've ever been on. So sorry to be dramatic. And I'm excited to do it all over again. So yes, let's get this seed stitch scarf going. But in order to do that successfully, I need to look at the pattern. So let me look at this pattern. All right, everybody, meet Cushy. Her scarf is a little bit shorter than I'd like, because I'd like to tie it this way. Let me show you here. I like to tie it this way, and it's just not long enough to do that. That makes it look like a little neckerchief, which is fine, but it's not quite the look I want for her, so I'm going to wrap it around just one tie for her this way. But look, Cushy's done. Made entirely out of Ireland yarn. Like I think I'll probably say in a voiceover, everything except the buttons and I guess the polyfill and the lavender in her boots are from Ireland. Okay, and her nose and her eyes. Okay. But the rest of it, Ireland. Amazing. Makes me so excited to go back and get yarn for her sibling or her friend or her pal or whatever it will be, but I am definitely going to be making more of these. In fact, I have a commission for one of them. It's already bought and paid for, but I'm going to, I think, make lamb stuffy as my next installment of How Much Does Hand Knit Cost? So how much would a commission of this cost? We'll see if I priced it correctly for this first commission I have of a knit stuffed animal. Maybe not. If not, that's fine, because it's for a dear friend. So look, Cushy's done. I'm really happy with her, and I'm really excited that I, trusted my instincts and trusted my gut to make this modification by first sewing and then snipping the overalls. How cute. And yes, of course, her tail has room to breathe. This is what it looks like in the back with the overall braces sewn on. So cute. I'm really happy. So as for these pieces that I cut off, I don't know what I'll do with them. I know people say you can compost wool, but I don't have a compost pile or a compost service. So what would you do with these? let me know in the comments. Is there a use for them? What should I do? Like, my first thought is to just, you know, unravel these as much as I can and add them to my scrap jar, which I actually keep right behind where the camera goes. Because I am planning to send scraps into Hedgehog Fibers again. It'll be a little different this time because we're not going to Hedgehog Fibers on this next Irish knitting tour, but I still have a plan to redeem my scraps for a discount code. Basically, the long story short is my plan is to still bring 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram of yarn scraps with me to Ireland in my neck pillow like I did last time, and then go to a local post office there and ship from Ireland so I don't have to pay international shipping fees. Yeah, okay, so, you know, I'm thrifty, even though, of course, I am going on, you know, a trip to Ireland, and I buy luxury yarn and luxury tools for that yarn. But, you know, where you spend money is important to you, and where you invest it is important to you, and that looks differently for everyone. And it is important to me not to pay international shipping charges with yarn scraps. So that's my first instinct, is to add this to the yarn scrap jar, but maybe you have a better idea. If so, let me know in the comments. But that's all I have for this video. I'm really, really glad that I can finish Cushy off my list for my January knitting goals. And she's just so cute, and she smells of lavender, so I just love her, and I'm really, really happy with how she turned out. So like I said, if you want to make this pattern, this is the Tearoom Lambs pattern by Susan Hickson. You can purchase 2 versions of the pattern. One is knit flat and the other is knit in the round. I knit the one in the round, so make sure you read the pattern description before you buy so you know which version you are purchasing. But yes, this is the Tearoom Lambs. Cushy is so happy to be here, and I'm just so proud that she exists. Her face is kind of, the stuffing migrated. There we go. Whatever. She's unique. She's her own individual person / entity / souvenir / thing. All right, so that's all I have for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you don't already, and hit that notification bell to be notified of my next upload. Last but not least, head over to Instagram and follow me at Rachel is Knitting if you don't already. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.